Okay, we'll make a start. Well, hello and welcome to this webinar. We're going to be looking at converting customers through digital channels. My colleague Mark Medina will take part as we get closer to the end. My name is James Pennington and I work with Winning Moves on the Humber project, Digital Catalyst. As we go through today, we're going to be looking, I will give some practical tips. It's going to be a quick whistle-stop tour of digital marketing and how we can use the different channels to actually drive traffic. Obviously, if you have questions as we go through, then please do post them into the chat or post them into the Q&A and we will deal with those as we go. We will have time at the end to actually pick up any specific questions that you have. Like I said, it's going to be a covering of some of the various different channels that we use to drive traffic to a website or business page. We're going to get started. As we go through, there will be opportunity for you to take part in some polls. They should come up on your screen and it will just help us gauge and collect some data so we can then further assist in the future. Okay, so first poll. I'm going to launch that in. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate your marketing activity currently through your digital channels? Where 10 is excellent and 1 is really bad. I'll give you a few seconds for you to click into that and then I will make it live. Okay, just a few more. Okay, we'll finish that there. I'm just going to share the results. Quite interestingly, we've got a mix, some down the bottom end and obviously some of you up near the top. We'll come back to that as we go through. Okay, so what is online marketing? What is digital marketing? Well, from my perspective, we're just doing marketing. Marketing is about finding and keeping customers and being profitable, finding customers that actually can make profit for your business. And online marketing is looking at how do we do that? Just a second. Stop sharing. Yeah. Okay. That's my mistake. Sorry. Online marketing is about, it's just doing exactly the same, but all we're doing is we are using the internet, we're using technology to actually physically increase our reach. Now, there are advantages to digital marketing. And if we're doing it correctly, even though we're sending the message to lots of people, we're actually looking for one-to-one interaction. So any message I put out there through a digital channel should result in somebody clicking and taking action. So I might send it to many, but I'm actually delivering it and hoping that an individual clicks. So if your digital marketing is done right, we're looking for customer involvement. We're looking for the people we're sending to actually physically do something. The beauty of online marketing today for digital channels is we can now be extremely focused. We can target specific age groups, demographics, people who have specific interests. So instead of sending a message to everybody, we can actually pick who our customers should be responding. There's multiple channels, which means we have multiple reach, whether it be in search engines or social media, messaging tools, email marketing. All of these tools are available to us today. Through analytics and tracking devices, the measurement side of our marketing activity can be very full. You know, we can actually look to see what is working, which age groups are responding, which gender is responding. Do they respond better between 9 and 12 on a Monday morning, or is it on a Sunday evening between 5 and 8? And obviously the tools and things cost is starting to come down. Now, disadvantages, and obviously hopefully none of you have suffered any of these. If you get it wrong, more people know, because obviously the speed of which information can be sent and transmitted across digital channels, if you get it wrong, people know. I've had clients who haven't changed pricing on servers, and they've sold 250 servers at a much lower price because the wholesaler put the prices up at 12 o'clock at night. Okay, so that got distributed through forums. There are more channels, which makes it more complex. And as businesses, part of making our online marketing work is to understand which channels we should be using to reach the correct customers. There may be a need for technology skills, so partnering with trusted suppliers and agencies to help you deliver. It is a low direct cost. However, the time cost in doing your digital marketing well is big. Because if we are doing this correctly, we are looking at our competitors, we're doing research, we're monitoring statistics. So we know exactly if we spend £100 in this area, we know we're going to see return because it's been tested and the metrics and data support. We also have to start thinking, is online marketing correct for your customer? Are there people you're trying to reach where online marketing is just going to be something that supports your activity, but your real push comes through face-to-face and networking and actually being out there meeting people and getting them to test and try your product. Now, we have the 4 Ps or 7 Ps of marketing. In the digital world, we have exactly the same. We have the 5 S's. So mainly you will fit into one of these or multiple aspects of this framework. It's by David Chaffee. You can get hold of this from his website online. So sell, serve, save, speak, and sizzle. Now, for a lot of businesses, sell is the key objective of our online activity, to make sales, to drive customers so we can actually engage with them and sell to them. Serve, using it as a customer service tool, and we're seeing a lot of businesses now move to digital channels to provide customer service. Obviously, it should save time, it should add value to customers to give them a better experience. We should be using our digital channels to speak to customers, to send out information, to get people to know what we do. And obviously the last one there, which I'm sure all of us want, is brand recognition, to grow the brand and have more awareness, so people know who we are and the type of things we're delivering. Now, moving on, first point, customer journey. Digital marketing done effectively, we know we need to understand what our customers are doing. We need to understand who they are. We need to understand what they like. And a lot of us jump straight into using technologies without thinking about, well, who am I actually speaking to? What is the journey the customer takes to actually engage with my business? What are the types of information I need to be putting in front of them at the various stages of their journey? And strategies have changed over time. Many years ago, we would use single channel marketing. So we may just do search optimization. We may just put some posts out on social media. Okay, we were focused on a single channel and then constructing messages purely to go to that channel we were using. We then moved into what we see quite common today, which is multi-channel marketing, where we put the same message across multiple channels. And now the latest thing that you'll see going around on posts from marketing companies and large brands is what we class the move to omni-channel. Omni-channel is where we see more of you as a customer and we focus on you as the individual instead of just spraying our message across all the channels that are available. So we change our tact. We focus on individual customers, and then we go to the places that we are going to see them. Okay, so we're thinking more about you, and we're connecting with you as the customer. Now, obviously, customers are all important to every single one of our businesses. Customers are the people that buy from us. Customers are the people that engage with us. Customers are the people that protect our brand if something should go wrong and information is being distributed on the internet. So the customer is all important. So a quick question to all of you. Well, there's two questions on this one. Let me just pull it up. Okay. First of all, have you identified your key customers? And have you created profiles that cover the key insights and interests those customers have? If you'd like to take a few seconds to answer that. Okay, I'm just going to end that and share the results with you all. It's quite interesting what's come up. Okay, thank you for the last person. I'm going to end the polling and share the results. So if we take a quick look at this, okay, it's good to see that the vast majority of you have actually spent the time to identify the key customers. However, only one of you has actually sat down and created profiles to cover their key insights and interests. Okay, 5 of you haven't, and 5 of you maybe. Okay, so you've started the process of thinking about who they are and what they are interested in, which is a good start. Just move that way. Okay, so customers. Why should we think about who should be responding? You know, at the end of the day, we're creating. If you were doing a flyer or you were targeting trade shows, you would be thinking about, who do I want to meet? Who should I be excited about if I'm in front of them? Going to a networking event, face to face, where you're thinking, okay, who on this list fits my customers? And we should be doing the same when we get into doing things digitally. You know, building websites and building messages and putting up posts that actually speak using the language and words that our key customers will respond to. So it's an extremely important aspect of online that a lot of businesses don't actually focus on. So some things we do, we have profiles, personas, we give them names, we pick age groups, what type of jobs. Now, if you're in B2C, great, this person is this age, they like these brands, they have these interests. If it's B2B, what type of customers, what type of businesses do you ideally work with? I was talking with somebody this week and I asked him about his customers. He hadn't actually done a profiling exercise and structured it. However, he did know that he ideally worked for companies that were between 1 million and 5 million in turnover. So when he was identifying people to reach out to, he could use that as a metric. Do these people fit the type of business that I typically work well with and I can bring value to? We start thinking about what they think and feel, what pains they have. So when we get into digital marketing and building message, customer pains are extremely important. Because if I can put a message in front of you that highlights the pain that you are going through, I've got more chance of you actually responding and clicking, coming to my website. And at that point, I built the whole journey to convert you. We have to think about users in context. So how is this person engaging with me? Is he engaging as a business or is he engaging as an individual? Now with marketing, we can personalize, you know, that idea of on an email message, it says, Dear James. Personalization. Very simple in the tools, but actually has a major impact on the user's response to what's being sent. If we think about websites, I'm sure a lot of you have used Amazon. Amazon is very much into personalization of the homepage and what they show to you, because they're mining data to personalize your experience. To a degree, Google and Bing, they use data that things you have clicked on in order to construct the search results that are shown to you as an individual. Because they're trying to personalize your experience. Because if we can get a good customer experience, they feel connected more with the brand. They feel more connected with the process. We need to think about their interests. And Facebook advertising is extremely good at this. Thinking about people who like specific brands and then marketing to them. Where are they located? So we can now start targeting different messages. I've done some work in paid advertising with a client, and they ran campaigns into London and spent more money, and then the rest of the UK they spent less money, because their target market typically from their research showed that they were located within London. We have to think about the channels. Which channels do people see? So are they on LinkedIn, or are they using Facebook, or are they young and moved into something like TikTok and Instagram? Okay, so all of this is a start process. Before we just jump and create the marketing, we need to know who it's going to, because the user will respond if they see something that connects. If the message is something that is a pain point to them, the imagery they can actually see and feel a connection with straight away. So the modern customer journey, okay, we all go through this. We have interest, we start searching, we see things, it builds our interest. Then we'll go and try and find out more information. So we're now doing our research. And then your reputation, word of mouth, people saying good things and reviews pushes people into conversion. Now, from a marketing perspective, I need to understand the whole of this journey, because I need to show you at every stage the key parts. There's no point me showing you a piece of content that converts if you're still researching and getting the level of awareness about my product or service. Okay, so we have to create marketing campaigns that touch the whole of this process. We're building a journey and we're using our marketing activity to strengthen it. Now, when we get into the world of marketing, we have a model called the PESO model. So this is how we split up the different channels. We have paid media, so advertising, display, search. We have earned media, so this is all to do with where you are building trust. Social platforms is about earning content and trust by people sharing, people commenting on your posts and liking it, because that builds trust. And then owned is all the things that you have physical control over. So your website, the actual post you're posting to Facebook, the image you're putting to Instagram, the thing you're posting on LinkedIn. That's content you own. You're in control of. Okay, and we'll flick to these as we go through. Value is something we have to get over in our marketing. Piece of research years ago by two guys called Amit and Zot, and they split value down into 4 areas. Are you doing something that is novel? So do you do something that is new, that nobody else is doing? That gives you something you can market. Do you have complementarity services that complement the offering you do. Again, something we can market. Are you using technology to be more efficient? And is there some way you can build a model, a revenue model that locks the customer into using your businesses or services? And all of this put together gives us value. Now, in a digital world, we need to understand value. Value is what differentiates you from everybody else. And your message needs to have that within there. I'm just going to got these websites on here. I'm not going to click through to them and show them. But these are different companies in different positions of the market. Sunseeker sell luxury yachts. If you go and look at their website, their intro video reflects lifestyle. They're not actually pushing yachts. They're pushing a lifestyle. They're using good imagery, they're using good video to actually make you see it and go, oh, that's really nice. And they're building a story around this. Gucci, again, great imagery. Jimmy Choo, okay, shoes, very good imagery. And again, the pictures they use on the website are to build lifestyle. They show great images to reflect to the customer a lifestyle. Whereas if we drop down to base, lower part of the market, okay, when we go on their website, we see good quality images, but we start to see discount. The prices of products on the home page will see discounts. On Jimmy Choo, we don't see that. On Sports Direct, it's all about the discount. It's all about large banners, big red banners, sale, 50% off, all of this. And they're reflecting their differentiation points in what they show. Now, finding customers. As a business, finding customers, we would go out, run surveys and ask people. And from that, we'd get an audience of people who were interested in our products or services. From here, we would then go out, we'd locate somebody and we'd buy a mailing list. And then we'd create a nice email, we'd send it out, or a letter, we'd send it out and hopefully, fingers crossed, people come and buy and engage with us. And we'd be hoping that our mailing list was good, it was clear, and the right people were sat on there. Now, today in digital, this still happens. People are still buying mailing lists, and I'm not saying that is wrong. If you see great returns from mailing lists, brilliant. The thing we have to do though, it's data, and we need it to be up to date. We also need it to be the correct customer. Okay, so today we use data. No longer are we the fisherman who just goes out, throws in his line and hopes that he catches something. We're using and trawling and sucking as much data as we can to drive a marketing activity. So today, we go out and we run campaigns. So we will create test campaigns focused on things people like, that fit our brand or our product or service. Once we get people responding, we create an audience, which means we have people who are interested. They like things that are similar. And then from an audience, we can create lookalikes. So we're continually doing activities to drive people into pots on our websites, in our e-commerce tools, and then we're taking those and then we're going and finding people who look like them. It's a different way of capturing customers or potential customers. So some areas we are using this. People who viewed a website, so they just landed. People who viewed specific sections of our website. They filled in forms, downloaded documents, registered for a newsletter. They added a product to the cart but didn't check out, or they purchased from us. So people are using the emails they've gathered for years to help them create audiences, to go and look for people on platforms, even in Google, using the email addresses, to locate people who look like customers who previously purchased from them. So we're actually creating campaigns to gather data, to use the data now to drive further interactions from people that happen to look like your customers on social and search platforms. And it's a completely different way round to drive our marketing activities. So I have another quick poll for you, just to get a feeling as to whether you are using data to drive your activities. Just let the last three finish. Okay, I'm just going to close that off and share the results with you. So if we take a look at this, one of you fully using data to drive your activity, which is great to hear. Some of you are using a little, and the vast majority of you obviously understand that you could do a lot more than what you are doing now. And hopefully, through the Grow My SME, these are things you could look at as to how we can start using this data to inform a much better marketing strategy and message. Okay, so where do we start? Let's just pick in the scene, thinking about how do we locate customers, who are our customers, and what are they interested in? So, online planning. Understand your customers, know where your value is, exploit the strengths that you have. Are your products the best? Are your reviews from your customers all 5 out of 5? Okay. Are you meeting interesting people? Are you delivering projects with big companies that have high status? All of these are strengths that the vast majority of us do not use effectively to push and promote our businesses. Are you competitor aware? Do you know who your competitors are and what they are doing in the realm of digital marketing? Obviously, part of planning, time, resource, and money. Somebody has to do all of this. Now, I see a lot of businesses and talk to a lot of businesses, and when we talk about time and resource and money, typically the marketing is done. The person who's doing marketing is trying to do everything, multiple channels, and resulting in doing nothing well. So one of the start points is, where are my customers? And focusing on the key customers and making sure you are actually creating something that they will respond to. When we get into planning, the first thing is to understand the goal, understand the objective. What is it we are actually trying to do? Is it build awareness? Is it to sell a specific product? Is it to gather signups onto my website? Am I doing this activity to get people sharing my content? Because all the activity we do should have an objective. So when it's working, what do we expect to happen? Okay, who is it we're trying to reach? Is it everyone? Is it a specific customer? A client of mine quite a few years ago, they were doing 4 fairly decent length blog posts every week, but she would flick it between 2 posts for her current customers to give them more knowledge and understanding, to build the trust. She would then do a specific post that was based on trying to get journalists to pick it up because it would be around data and metrics. And then she would do a post specifically every week, or she would do a post 1 out of 4 weeks to get new customers. So she structured her marketing activity that way. So just something there. Now, the problem I see is a lot of people start straight down here. They go straight to tactics. They go and do some web and social media and bung up a LinkedIn profile and all of this type of stuff, and they're down here. They haven't actually thought about, well, where in the business do these activities, which objective, what's the objective? What are they supporting? Okay, start point. If you want to be successful through driving traffic through digital channels, you need to understand the objective as to why you are doing it. Once we have objectives, we can start setting goals. How do we know if this is working well? What are we trying to attain? Once we have a goal, we're then into the different strategies and tactics to accomplish the goal to meet the objective. Too often, we're down here using strategies and tactics, and we have no idea what it's meant to actually accomplish in the business. Now, we have lots of different tools available to us. SEO, content marketing, we have search engine marketing, which is all the paid channels on search. We have social commerce, Instagram, Facebook, okay? And as businesses, we have to decide which ones we're going to put our time and effort into. And for some of you, some of these would not work. And for others, there's some of these that you should be doing pretty much today. And you're missing opportunities if you don't. Now, effective channels, believe it or not, we might all hate email marketing, but in research, email marketing is still seen as one of the most effective channels available. The problem is, with email marketing, it typically is not targeted. And we send a message to everybody on the list, regardless as to whether they need to receive it or not. And we'll touch on that later. But obviously, email, search, organic, SEO, paid search, content, social, they all have a place. Okay? Now, another little poll. Do you undertake activity in-house or use an agency to deliver services for you? Let me launch this. So I've split this down into content, search engine optimization, which is organic search, and search engine marketing, which would be Google advertising or Bing. Social media paid, and email marketing. I want to take a few minutes to click down there. Okay, just like the last couple coming in. Okay, so I'll end that and share the results. Okay, so quite a vast majority of you are doing these activities in-house, which is great. Some of you are paying agencies, so we've got somebody here doing paid advertising on search through an agency, paid social through an agency. We've got some SEO through an agency. I deliberately didn't ask a question, how good did you feel all of these were? But obviously, you know, in-house, you're trying to do this yourselves, which is great. And we'll come back to that later. So let's carry on. So we're going to now start looking at some channels. If you do have any questions as we go through this, please do post them into the tool. Okay, so search engine optimization. This is typically the first thing that most businesses try and look at. Obviously, we can't do any digital without content creation. And search is very much driven by how well you create your content. Now, why is search typically the main one? Now, this might be different on your websites. I've got a website where search is not the major contributor to traffic. And that's because it's a new website and we are literally paying for traffic to drive to it. But search typically, so when we talk search, we're talking Google, Bing, Yahoo, DuckDuckGo. If you're targeting other countries, Russia might be Yandex, the Chinese market is Baidu. All of them work on the same principles for SEO, so search engine optimization. Okay, now in terms of the UK, the biggest search engine is Google. Now, if we were to move this to mobile and just look at mobile traffic, the biggest search engine in the UK, that 87% goes to roughly 96% for Google. So Google is seen as the master. And what Google does, all the other search engines eventually follow suit. So if Google changes its algorithm today and has a specific focus on an area, which they do quite often, Bing will modify their algorithm and roll in the same sort of factors. So search is one of the biggest channels. Typically, it's seen as being free because it's about content creation. Now, if we look at search, I've just pulled out some of the key things we see within the search engine. So the search engine results page, which is referred to as SERPs. The two red ones are paid advertising. Always appear at the top of search results. People aren't paying to be there. They are showing an interest and willingness to pay if somebody clicks. So in the search engine, any paid ad is a cost per click, CPC. The blue ones are what we see inside, and these are all opportunities that as businesses through SEO now, search engine optimization, we have the ability to position on the first page of Google by the quality of the content that we are putting to our website. So these are standard search results. This is a local listing. So if you do things like I'm looking for a shoe store near me, it will bring up a local map pack. Again, driven by localized SEO. People also asked, this is where Google's trying to figure out questions you might be asking based on the term you have typed in. This is opportunity for us to look at what questions Google is seeing, which means people are asking. So this is an opportunity for creating more content. This is a knowledge graph. So when you search for brands or very, very common terms, Google will suck out something that it feels best matches your search. Very, very driven by brand. Okay, but it has your address details on and various other bits and pieces about your business. Again, it's an opportunity. Remember, in search, we're trying to be visible to the user. Okay, and the last one down here is a featured snippet. Okay, so this is where Google sees that your website content provides an exceptionally good answer to something somebody has typed into search. Into the search results. Can you still, you're unmuted by host, thank you. Okay, so this is a rich snippet driven from the content you've uploaded to your website, and Google says your page best matches the user's query. Now, you don't have to be position number 1 in Google search results to get this. You can be at position 5. It's just Google saying this piece of content best matches the user's question. Okay, so search is continually changing. This is what it looks like currently today. And as businesses, if we want to exploit digital, we need to start thinking, how can I, through SEO, influence these 5 areas? And it all comes down to content. Now, when we're talking about SEO, good SEO is about getting pages into Google's index. So Google needs to be able to crawl through your website. It uses a piece of code to do that. Crawl through your website, and it then takes a copy of the content, takes it back and stores it in their algorithm. Is what says, when I type in James Pennington, it searches its index and then finds the best piece of content based on multiple factors. Okay, nobody out there actually knows how Google does that, or Bing, they just do. We have various things that influence, and that's what an SEO person will advise on, and an SEO person will analyze your site based around the factors. Now, in terms of the search engine, it's not about getting somebody to the home page of your website. It's about getting them to the best page of content that matches your query you type. Because search engines are all about user experience. Why does the person want to land on a home page and then navigate the website to find the content that best answers their query? So search is about creating pages that target phrases our users type into search, which means every page in the eyes of a search engine is a home page, because it's created specifically for the phrase which you are targeting for the people to land on. Which means you will have pages in your website, your key pages, your fighting pages. I need this person to land here. This is the one that gives the value. They're in awareness, so it needs to be this article about the subject. They're at conversion, it needs to be a product choice or a service choice. Okay, we need to start thinking more about, if the person types that phrase, where should he land on my website if I want to convert them. So what do you want visitors to do? And one thing to start doing is looking at your content pages on your website and ask yourself, if I was to land here, what do I want the person to do next? And if your answer is, I can't see the next step, I can't see where you're driving me, I can't see the process you're pushing me into, you need to think about reworking your content, because Google will be having the same thought, or any user that lands there will have the same thought. So the basics of SEO, just going to flash through this really quick so you all got some takeaways to go. Keywords. This is identifying what the person's typing. What type of phrases is the customer, my ideal customer now, typing into Google search or Bing? Page titles, content, links, inbound and internal. I'm just going to flick through those really quickly. So if you struggle with keywords and selecting keywords, there are lots of tools out there you can look at. Neil Patel has a free tool where you can put your competitors' websites in, and it will tell you all of the phrases your competitor positions for in their database in Google search. So if you're struggling to get keywords, go and see what your competitors position for, or large brands in your sector, because it will give you ideas. There's a lot more to keyword selection and lengths of keywords, but I'm not going to cover that here. It's just to stimulate some thoughts in your minds. If you struggle for content, ask the question. Go to answerthepublic.com. Answerthepublic.com, you can type in a phrase and it brings back multiple different questions around that phrase. So that can stimulate, they're driving that from search queries. So people are searching for that phrase. And these are the questions they're asking, which means we can take that and build content and optimize it to get it in search results. If you've got a website and you don't know what phrases hit it, Google give us a free tool, Search Console, which will show you every phrase that has been typed into a Google search, and if your website has appeared in a set of search results from page 1 to page 99. And it will tell you where on average you appear. Okay, so we have all the tools. We haven't got to go out and buy something like SEMrush. The tools are there to help us get an understanding of data. Now, so keywords is a start point. We have keywords, we write them into various parts of the page. We don't stuff them into various parts of the page. We write them so our text flows well and our text isn't over optimized for a specific phrase. Page titles, extremely important in terms of search. The page title is not what appears here, 5,000 with grants and one-to-one support. The page title is what appears at the top. So we can see on this example, this is home, Humber Business Growth. And page titles is the most underutilized part in terms of SEO on a website. Why is it important? Because the page title is what is pulled out as the blue link in a set of Google search results. So these are the page titles that have been pulled out on, I think, business support Humber was the search there, and this one was marketing courses Humber. Okay. And these are the things. This is your advert into organic search. We have complete control, typically, on what the blue text says and also the black text. Google only positions off the blue text. The black text is a sub call to action. So taking a look at your pages and seeing what you're showing search results? Is what I'm showing good? Would I click that? Because if you happen to come up on page 1 and you're not giving the user any value or why they should click in these 2 pieces, you're missing an opportunity for search. Now, you can check yours. There are tools that do this. The easiest one is to type into Google search site : and then your domain name. And it will bring back everything Google has about your website. So here I did winning moves. Sorry, Mark. And we've got about us, benchmarking index. Now, good or bad page title, I'll let you decide. From my perspective, it could do with some improvement. We've got consulting. So this is the consulting page. So it's very easy to see opportunity. And if you want better organic search results, first activity. Now, links, the last part. Links are still important from Google. External links is the sizzle. Who's talking about you? In other words, who's reading your content and saying, here's a great piece of content, here's a great company, here's a great service, and they're linking into your website. So we have external links. Now, there's been various bits at Google which has clamped down on external links. So inbound links is what we typically refer to them as. If you're seeking links from external websites, they should be relevant, not paid for, and in directories or in websites in your geographic location. Now, if you have a global reach, you can, all across the world, but think about where you work. Are the places you appear sensible? Now, internal links is all about structure. So this is within your content on your website. So using links within content to boost specific pages. So I've got a client that does Dynamics 365. On all of their blog posts, where they're talking about features and functions in 365, we have links back to the category page for 365. So when Google reads the site, one, it can crawl round, but it's seeing, he's linked Dynamics 365 back to this page, and that gives structure. Now, as websites grow bigger and bigger, structure becomes a big problem. So SEO, those 4 areas are the 4 areas we focus on. We do other things like get the said website working quicker and looking at weights on other people's sites compared to ours to look for opportunities. Okay, but we're doing that. If you want to check your links on a website, I'm going to put this into chat. You can do this in Google search. Okay, and what that command does in speech marks for your domain name, it looks for your domain name on any website in the Google index, and the minus site, so that is minus site, no space, minus site takes out your domain. Now this is great if you're looking for external links, because I can type anybody's domain in there and find out where their website is mentioned on the internet. Okay, so it's great for competitor research. So another quick poll, that was really quick on SEO. I am going to put this in on a scale of 1 to 10, launch poll. How good is your SEO? So the person who said they were using an agency, I'm gonna Hopefully you're going to answer 9 or 10. Very good. Okay, I'll just see if we can get the last one. Okay, I'm going to end that poll right now and show you the results. Okay, so we've got a few down here, obviously. Hopefully that is our friend who's using an agency. But this, you know, SEO is about content. This is something we're creating. All of you said your content creation was in-house earlier. So it's something you're in control of. Spending the time to figure out, well, what do I want if somebody lands here? What's the journey from this page? What needs to be present if the person is at awareness stage or if the person is at contract stage? What do I need to put on this page? I'm thinking more about what, you know, where should somebody land in my website, and constructing as much as you can with the journey. The problem with SEO is we are at the core of Google or Bing on the algorithm, on how they see the website. And they're looking and they're saying, well, I think this page, I think that page, okay? But we can do our best to try and enhance the content that is going to go into search results. So where we see, by looking at data, where we see a specific page getting queries into it, if it's the wrong page, we need to create new content. Okay, SEO does take time, but SEO is something you as site owners have the ability to do yourself by thinking of the keywords, creating content that focuses on those keywords, and then creating compelling value add page types. Okay, moving on, conscious of time. Social media. Now, social media is all about, again, content. Social media is about creating, capturing, sharing, and promoting content. Regardless of which platform you're using, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, there are hundreds of different platforms, new ones coming up. It's about creating and sharing content. If you can't create good content, find somebody who can help you. Now, social media, whether we like it or not, from a business perspective, it is here to stay. And it's a way of getting reach and building trust. People's reviews of your business, that is social because it's user-generated content. And people are driven by what they see. Disadvantages of social media, there is an enormous number of channels. You cannot do everything and you cannot do everything well. You have to choose the right channels for the customer. Back to earlier slides, the customer is all important. You need to promote activity you're doing on social media, which means you need to be telling people. A lot of people don't do this. You've got to be continually generating content. Okay, so set yourself a goal. I've seen companies take the view, oh, we're going to do this every week, 2 posts every week, and then they just get snowed under with activity that they can't keep that. You may need specialists, you need to know what you're measuring, and building trust, building interaction and building engagement through social platforms takes a long time. It's not going to be instant. You can buy followers. You can buy likes. However, the algorithms behind these tools know that it's not a real profile, which will be a negative on your position and what you're paying to push content in. So this is just a quick one to highlight things change. So 2018 to 2019, okay, we have doubled Instagram posts. Okay, number of people tweeting has dropped. Facebook 1 million logging in, 973. 18 pretty much the same there on messages. 3.7 million searches Google. Okay, some of these platforms will be going up, some of them will be going down. Some of them will disappear. Okay, and the key to it is there are lots of different platforms out there for social media. You've got to have the content. Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, each of these target different areas. Instagram, very visual. TikTok, video. This is a new one. You may have heard of it. You may have used it. Pinterest, images again, like Instagram, but this works on boards. Line is a messaging app used in Asia. WeChat is a messaging app used in China, but making its way across Europe, and I see a lot in the UK. You've got to pick the platforms that relate to your users and then look at developing content to share. Now I'll say just a couple of tips on social media. Okay, people only remember 10% of what they hear once 72 hours have passed. Put it with a relevant image or video. Your material can be remembered 65% of the information after 3 days. If you are posting on social platforms to get awareness and get reach and get people seeing your products or services, you need to be using a picture or a video that supports your post. Not many of us, when we scroll through timelines, stop on text. We stop on images and we stop on videos that capture our eye. Okay, videos that are short with text overlay subtitles. I never listen to a video on Facebook. I'm watching the text that comes on the screen. And social media is definitely one of those we test. We test imagery over video. We test different wording. We test different platforms to see, we believe our user is there. Let's see how they interact. What type of wording do they respond to? Now, are you making use of social media platforms? Let's get a response to this. Okay, so I've listed a few out on the page. Some of these will not be applicable, so that'll be a no, or should be using it, but I'm not. Take a few seconds to fill that in. One of the things I've seen a lot working with businesses, they're very keen to jump on platforms. However, they haven't really understood, is my user there? Okay, and that's one of the start points. Okay, some people will use platforms. They will send content to platforms purely so their brand is not stolen on that platform. So I know a lot of people who use Facebook like that. So they're just putting content to it for the sake, but they're using tools which automatically post to multiple networks. Just going to end that poll and then share the results with you. Okay, so on Facebook, more than less of you are using the image ones. Obviously, if you have a very visual product, I would say Instagram, definitely for a visual product, just to gain awareness, and get the right tagging going to reach people, were extremely important. Obviously, yeah, it could be on WhatsApp, WeChat. I wouldn't expect anybody to be on WeChat. TikTok, quite interestingly, no. This is actually quite a growing network. They have an enormous big push into Europe. And then Twitter down the bottom. Twitter is great for following industry leaders. Okay, if you haven't thought of a reason for using Twitter. Okay, so that's a quick one through social. We'll have a quick look at online advertising. So this is paid. So this is search engine marketing or paid social media. So when we're in here, we're talking about advertising, so paying for traffic. Search engines, Google, Bing. So Google Ads, Bing Ads. Now, I was on a training course earlier this week, and it hadn't really occurred to me, but when the guy explained this, it jumped out. You know, most of us use Google. Less tech-savvy people, which can tend to be older generations, actually use Bing, purely for the fact that Bing is the default web browser since Windows 10. Well, it's the default search engine on web browsers since Windows 10 came out. And if they don't know how to change the default browser, when they type anything in, it automatically goes to Bing. Which, if your audience, and this comes back to understanding your customer, if your audience is not tech savvy and you think they wouldn't have changed their default browser, then advertising on Bing is something you should think about doing. Obviously, the vast majority are advertising through Google because it's an enormous amount of search traffic in the UK. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got LinkedIn, we've got Twitter. Most of the social platforms all now roll in advertising. So we're paying for traffic. But why do we pay for traffic? Okay, in the eyes of Google, we're paying for traffic because it gets us top listings. We have the ability, even if we are not a brand, to appear number one in a set of Google search results. Now, most of us will say we never click a paid advert in Google. However, a lot of people do. And if people are clicking and coming through, great. It gives us targeted users. So in Google, we can target users on age, location, and interest. On paid search, and also on display network, where I'm putting ads onto people's websites now, not into search results. Facebook is highly targeted, very, very targeted. Okay. Now, why do we do it? It delivers traffic. And if you've set it up correctly and your targeting is right, it should deliver customers that match your business. Obviously, position is dependent on how much you're willing to bid, but it's also dependent on the quality of the ad and also the quality of the page on which you're landing people on if you're on Google's network. Now, paid advertising, along with social media, organic, we design the customer journey. So I create a message. I can put an image with it on social or Facebook advertising. I know exactly where that's going to land on my website. And I can build the page with the correct calls to action because I've thought about your customer journey. With SEO, organic search, I can do a bit of this, but I can't control what Google is definitely going to put into search results. But with any paid traffic, I can. So paid, if you're doing it correctly, we're designing the whole journey. We've got a webinar in about two or 3 weeks time, I believe, that we're going to be looking at some tips around paid advertising on social platforms and also on Google's network. Okay, so key things again: message, matching what you're displaying for, or in Facebook's instance, we are matching our ad to a customer profile. So they're this age, this gender, they live in this area, they like this brand, they like that brand, they like this page. All of these things come into, we're creating our ads to display to specific people. Appropriate text for the intended user, coming back to what your user is. We need ways, definitely in Google, of taking out negative traffic, and we should always be putting ads up that have calls to action. That's something you want the user to do, unless you enjoy paying just to drive traffic to read an article. Now, landing pages, where do they go? Uncluttered, simple, specifically built pages. Now, most of us land it on a page which already has content on it. It exists in our website. If we're designing the journey correctly, we would be building specific pages. Never use a home page to send anybody, especially if you're paying for traffic. Only ever collect basic information from people. Okay, and some tips on getting paid right. Check what you're doing is set correctly. It's very easy to spend money in paid advertising, and you are losing because you haven't set things up correctly. So where are you displaying? Are you doing just search or display advertising? What phrases in Google trigger an ad? Have you thought about the landing page? Are you looking at the analytical data? Okay, and again, testing content, extremely important. So another little poll to see if any of you are actually paying. So I've split this up. Okay, so Google search ads are the ones which appear in text in Google. Shopping ads are the pictures of the products in Google search. Display is on somebody else's website. Google do YouTube ads, and then we've got Facebook ads, Instagram, LinkedIn, and Twitter. Get the last few of you. Okay, so I'm going to end that. Quite an interesting set of results here. I'm going to share them with you. Effectively, vast majority of you are doing nothing with paid traffic. Okay, we've got Facebook and an Instagram and LinkedIn ads here, one person. Okay, the vast majority of you are not doing a lot. We've got some should be's, and you know, it is worthwhile thinking, is there an opportunity I'm missing where I could be better targeting something in front of my customers to get them to click through to come to my website? It does cost money. However, if you set it up correctly, you can actually get very good traffic at very low cost. Okay, email marketing. So email marketing, a lot of people would say email is not brilliant. However, when we start looking, the earlier graph I showed you, you know, email is still seen as something that works. Okay, it's seen as a tool that works and it drives traffic to website. So open rates, okay, are different with different sectors, click-throughs, click to open rates, and these are all the metrics that come out of email marketing tools. it still has a place. However, I would say if you're going to do email marketing, which some of you did from the earlier poll, okay, focused landing pages. Think again, you are sending a message, which means you control what goes in the email. You have control of where that lands on your website, which means you are in control of the whole journey. So you can build and craft that. So land them on focused landing pages where the content in the email matches the content on the page. Mirror your headlines, mirror the graphics and imagery. Don't distract the user by showing them something different. Most important information at the top, so people don't have to scroll down. Okay, make sure people can easily read your copy and get your calls to action, the things you want them to do. If it's purchase a product, sign up to a newsletter, download a document, get them prominent and make sure people see them both in your email and in the page you're going to land the people on. Now, the biggest reason email marketing doesn't give good results is people do not segment their lists. So when we're talking this, understand the data you have on your customers. What products they've purchased or services in the past. I used to work with an organization and they would send out to their 25,000 email list their courses. Now, on that email list, some of them, one would deliver the courses themselves because they were agencies, and people had actually attended the courses, but we're sending them the same message over and over again because we haven't split the customer data set into segments. And if we start splitting up the email, we can now change the wording and imagery we use to reflect a different demographic or a different age or a different gender. Some of you might remember the company Republic in the UK, a clothes store. They used to send me email marketing because I used to buy clothes for my son there. I would pay for them. The account online was in my name, Mr. James Pennington. We only ever purchased male clothes in that store. Every email they sent me started with female clothes, which meant that's a great example of bad segmentation. You know, why do most people delete the email? Because it's irrelevant, because you're starting it off with pictures of clothes for a gender that we've never purchased for in that store. And these are just simple, small things we can do easily at the data capture end and also at the processing side when we send the email. Okay, so that's a quick one on email marketing. I am going to get another little poll up to see if you are using email marketing, and if you are, which platforms you are using. Okay, so I'm just going to share that back. Just give it a couple of seconds, see if the number 9 and 10 want to answer. Okay, so I'm going to show you the results. So, you know, most of you are using it. You've got one who isn't and one who thinks they probably should be, which is good. MailChimp, obviously, MailChimp does a free account. Now, what I would say here, we've got Outlook Mail Tool. So sending out from your Outlook email. There's a reason people use recognized mail providers. If just for the people who put Outlook Mail Tool down here, the risk you are running is that somebody reports your mail as being spam, or if you get a lot of bounce backs, which can have a negative impact on your actual email for the business, which is why a lot of people go through to one of these tools. So that's just something for you to think about if you've answered you're using Outlook Mail. Okay, and we'll stop sharing those. Okay, so I'm just coming to an end here, measurement of success. Okay, so that was a quick flick through how we use the channels and some little tips to help you if you're thinking about using them, or you are using them and you want to sort of improve what you're doing. And there'll probably be more webinars as we go forward on some more in-depth stuff around some of these tools themselves. Okay, so measuring success, analytics. Now, I don't know how many of you use analytics. I've got a poll for it in a second. How many of you understand analytics? But we have the ability, I mentioned it right at the start, we have the ability to measure everything we do. We track people into websites, on emails, on social media posts. We have the ability to tag all of those links and track the effectiveness of that campaign into a website, because ultimately the endpoint for all of our marketing is our website, which should be a start point for all of you. Look at your websites and go, would I actually buy from this website? So analytics gives us insight into how effective the activity is. So it helps us understand, if I was going to invest £500, which marketing channel should it be in? Where am I seeing good response? And analytics gives us that. It also will highlight areas that need improving in websites and marketing activity. It will show where people land in the website and if they exit the website pretty quickly. It shows people we're working with, and it gives us the ability to segment data. Now, in order to make analytics work, you have to understand your objectives. Objectives, key reports. What is the activity meant to do? Is it because once we know that this marketing campaign was to get sign-ups to our newsletter, the objective was sign-ups. How many sign-ups did we get? Was the campaign effective? And analytics, if we set it up correctly, can help us understand that. So examples: generate sales leads, cross-selling on an e-commerce website, getting more traffic to the website through search, building relationships. Yeah, these are objectives. Why am I doing this campaign? Now, objectives map into KPIs, performance indicators. So these are the metrics. These are the things when you log into Google Analytics or you look at Facebook Insights, these are the things which are either going up or down. But they're the things that are telling you, have I met my objective? If it was to drive more visitors from search, I should be seeing search engine visits increase. So if you're doing SEO for an agency or you're doing it in-house and you're not seeing search visits increase, is the SEO working? Which pages are the agency working on? Because we should see more traffic coming into those. People engaging, time on site, how far into the website do they go? How far down the page do they scroll? Do they download a PDF document? These metrics are what we see in Google Analytics or Adobe Analytics, depending if you're using something else. Okay, so when we look at the analytics side, this is where we bring it all together. And it helps us understand, is our activity producing results? And based on what we see, that should then drive change in our campaigns, the way we present our website, and the various things we do. Now, we'll throw this one in and see what we've got. Okay. Do you use analytics? So I'll give you the ability to multi-choice on the top. So hopefully those of you who've said you've got LinkedIn and you were doing LinkedIn, you're looking at the analytics of your posts. One person who does Facebook Insights, definitely you should be in there. Okay, just give the last. Okay, so I'm going to share the results. They're very good. Half of you are exploiting analytics. What I would say, if you have a website and you're not looking at analytics and you're doing digital marketing, or you've got a website, you are missing an enormous opportunity to understand what is happening. So Google Analytics is there. Some of you understand the data, which is great. Some of you understand some of the data. And it can get quite complex in Google Analytics. There are things that the standard analytics setup doesn't allow us to do. So content marketing, if you're writing a lot of content, how are you measuring interaction on your pages? Because analytics needs 2 clicks to measure. Just leave that there. If you want to know more, you can ask me in the Q&A. Okay, so just this bit to finish. One thing we should all be doing is we should be continually looking at our activity. SOSTAC is a recognized framework for looking at your digital marketing. So situation, where are we now? That's what are we doing? What platforms are we on? How is our interaction? And looking at your metrics. And also that involves competitor research. So looking at the competitors to say who else is in the market and what are they doing? Because we can learn a lot in digital by looking at people who are doing it well. There's a reason that company out positions you on Google search, because they may have done some simple page title changes to their content and strengthened the content itself through one of the keyword phrases. Okay, so we look at the situation, what's happening. We set objectives. Where do we want to be? So do we want to grow the traffic, get more sales, get people engaging with the website more? And then we're into strategies and tactics on how to do that. So how do we actually create content that's engaging? Content that works for search. Tactics is how we're going to measure it, and the control and action part of it, who's going to do it, okay? And then did we actually, so what's the process afterwards for changing what we've done if it's not working, or improving it if it's working well? So we need to be looking at all of this type of stuff, information, in order to develop plans and action plans for moving forward. Now I have another poll. Let me find where it's gone. For you. Okay. I'm just interested to see how many of you actually regularly look at your competitors. Okay, I'm going to share that. It's a promising result, which is good. Okay, so the vast majority of you are. Some of you aren't. What I would say, you know, if your competitor has a newsletter, register. They'll send you information. Could be every week. It could be once a month about what they're pushing into the market. Okay, So all opportunity to learn. I will stress to learn, not to copy. Okay, so just finishing off my bit, then Mark will come on and carry out the rest. Okay, so assess your marketing activity. Look at what you're doing. From your website, is it good? Is it working? What does it say? Do you actually target the correct people? Are you using the right imagery for your users? Do you actually push people to convert? Go and look at your competitors, see what they're doing. Okay, and then just to finish off here, what does your online marketing say about you? Okay, what can you do better? And then just to finish off, I've got one last poll, just to get an idea of where you all are. Okay, what would you like assistance with? Okay, to understand your digital marketing activity, so what's happening with the data, to help you develop a digital strategy, or to understand how to use the various platforms that are out there effectively. Okay, I'm going to finish that there. Okay, share the results. Okay, so a couple of you to get some understanding of what's going on with your activity, develop a strategy, and obviously the stronger one is for some more content around the various platforms that are available. Okay, so I'm just going to stop that. That is that poll. Okay, and now Mark is going to talk about what's available through the project. Are you there, Mark?
I am, James. Yeah, thanks very much for passing over.
You get and approve your control.
Yeah, I think hopefully should be okay. I'll probably be quite brief now to be honest. So yeah, just big thanks, James. Jam-packed, full of really good tips and content there. So thanks very much for that. And I hope everybody who's on the call has gained or is on the webinar has gained a lot from attending. I'm just going to throw up a poll just to get your feedback in terms of how things have gone. I'll just leave that running. Conscious of time, so just very briefly, wanted to share the if I can. Let me see. Yeah, okay. So yeah, just wanted to share a little bit of information about other supports available around ICT. Obviously, you've heard from James today. James is part of our team of digital specialists helping on another program called Digital Catalyst. So he and others can actually assist you directly with your specific marketing needs. So I'll share a bit more about that in a moment. We're running weekly webinars. In fact, that's going to move to 2 per week fairly in the next few weeks. Next one coming up is about taking the challenge out of innovation, particularly in relation to using digital technology. So I think that's next week at 1 o'clock. So please do join us for that. In terms of Digital Catalyst, as I might say, this is a one-to-one support program for your businesses. The types of support available. We just to give an overview of what's involved. We'll work with you to assess your current digital technology or digital adoption maturity. So looking at things like your digital marketing, but a whole range of other areas, to then inform some expert support through the team of technology specialists, which then lead on to an action plan, which usually they'll help identifying the areas that that you most need, perhaps most need assistance with, but also finding local technology providers, other support programs, funding available to help make it happen, and as I say, finding local technology providers. So a pretty flexible flexible support. We've deliberately not sort of developed a solution where we come in and say, you know, this is what it is. It is very much about understanding understanding your needs. So in a nutshell, the service is about providing bespoke one-to-one support to your business, using through the support of expert technology specialists such as James. Hopefully inspiring and insightful. But so the main thing is about having impact, really. So helping to make a difference in your business. So whether that's delivering, you know, greater efficiency, working more effectively, if it's innovation, developing new products and services, or perhaps enhancing your existing one, but also, you know, looking at improving the customer service, customer offer, looking at ways of working, and of course that all important aspect of staying cyber safe, which is key these days, as perhaps more than ever. We ran a webinar last week where it was identified that about 60% of small to medium-sized businesses will be hacked at some point. So you're more likely to be hacked than not. So fairly broad offering, but obviously, as I say, it intended to be as bespoke to specific requirements. And of course, you know, whilst developing a plan and understanding what's out there is essential, it's also about, you know, a bit of hand holding to get started as well, and ultimately about taking the shortcut to get to the best applications or the most relevant digital technologies that will make the greatest difference to you. Now, I was a bit wary about putting examples of projects up because, as I say, it isn't necessarily, this is far from exhaustive, but just to give an idea, so the sorts of projects we can help with are moving operations onto the cloud, consolidating technology infrastructure, tools and applications to improve productivity, introducing e-commerce or enhancing it, looking at your cybersecurity, things like online accounting to get greater control over financial management, and things like implementing customer relationship management, which is all pretty much at the heart of what James has been talking about today, about communicating with your existing customers, but obviously finding new ones is just as important. Ultimately, we're looking to, you know, identify those technologies which can make the greatest difference to you. So looking at, you know, which can provide the greatest return on investment, but not just now, because obviously we're in a challenging period with the pandemic. But beyond that, looking at looking into the future as we start to come out of this and back into some form of normality. It's also understanding the knock-on effects. So if you make changes in one area around technology, it could well have an impact elsewhere. So it's just important to make sure everything's working together and as efficient as possible. Looking at those technologies which will integrate with what you have already. And also then, of course, how to implement and manage technology changes on an ongoing basis. And that's, yeah, as I say, very relevant. I think, again, James has touched on a lot of this, managing your performance in terms of your marketing and the effectiveness of your of the applications you're using. Ultimately, and again, conscious of time, look, these are the areas we're here to make a difference, really, and to now and in the longer term. So, you know, those are the areas that we're particularly looking to help with, you know, really drive that extra resilience and agility and so on. It's contact details for us, telephone number there, and the email address. The website is through the Grow My SME initiative, which sits under the Humber Business Growth Hub. I think the content is being updated with some obviously changes with the remote support that's been provided. So do contact us. We will touch base with you after this webinar to see if there's any areas we can help with and to check how you found the experience today. But please do contact us. As I say, whether it's marketing or some other area of digital technology you think we can help with. As I say, wanted to finish quickly because, as I say, James covered a huge amount of really interesting and useful content today. Thank you for that, James. Yeah, just obviously a big thanks to all of you for attending. As I say, I hope you gained a lot from today. Do join us for future webinars. And unless there's any final questions, I don't think there are any that have been raised. We'll stay on for a few moments more, just in case anybody's got any final questions, or if anyone wants to speak up now. Otherwise, just to thank you again, and look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks very much. Okay, as I say, we'll hang on for a few moments more, just in case there's any questions anybody'd like to raise.